Today we are going to learn how to process JSON data, and we are going to use jQuery as our choice front-end scripting language, and we will also use PHP as our server-side scripting language. And we are going to merge these two, and we'll see how we will do that. And as you can see, I am running my Apache server, and it's online. This is what we'll be using to process our PHP scripts. And also I'm using the Apache NetBeans IDE. You can basically use any IDE of your choice. And let's get now to the project. This is the JSON PHP project that I've created, as you can see here. And it contains 3 files. And here we've got the pizza.php file, we've got the controller.php file, and also we've got the index.php file. So the pizza is what we'll use to simulate our data and convert it to JSON so that we can be able to send it back to the user here at the index.php. Then the jQuery will be able to process that information. And also here we've got the controller. Our controller is what we'll use to process any information that comes from the front end side and get the data and send it back to the front end. And the jQuery will be able to capture that information and process it. So I will go to the pizza class, and here is where I will start to write my code. And I will give properties to the pizza class that we'll use to populate the pizza objects. So here I will say public, and I'll give it a property of ID, and also I will supply a name property, and I will also supply price property. I will also call the construct function and give the user an opportunity to be able to populate the object data as they instantiate the object. And here I will say ID, name, and the price. And the price. And I will assign the class ID to the user provided ID, and assign the name to the user provided name, and also assign the price to the user provided price. So as far as we are concerned, this is the pizza class that we've written, and I will save the file, and I will close. So we won't need it anymore. We'll just instantiate and convert it into a JSON object and send it back to the user. And what we'll do, I'll come to the controller class, and there is where I will import. I will import the pizza file so that you can be able to use it here. Let us switch to the index file, which the user will interact with. And as you can see, we've got the script CDN link here, which has got the jQuery version 3.5, but this will work even with version 2.1. It will work fine. And also we've got the document.ready function down here. Here is where our jQuery or JavaScript code will go. And also we've got a product show div. We are going to use this to display the data that we get from our server, the JSON data, that is. And therefore we are going to use the two methods and see how we can use it to get and process the JSON data, and we're going to use the get and the post request. So here I will start with the get request, I will use the get request, and jQuery provides a easy function that can be used to get JSON data from the server, and that is the .getJSON. And here we are going to provide the URL, and our URL is going to be the controller.php, and that's what I'll write here, controller.php, and I will supply get variable and a value, and I will call it find all and assign it a value of 1. And also it accepts another argument, which is a function, and also supplies the data object. And now let me call the console.log and say data. So at this point, when I run the index.php, let me save, nothing will show because in our controller we haven't write any code that will be able to process that data. So that is actually what I will do now. Let me instantiate the pizza objects, and one of the pizza will call it Hawaiian equals new pizza, and I will give it an ID of 1, and I will the name Hawaiian, and also the price will be $3.4. I'll also instantiate another pizza, and I will call it veg first, new pizza. I'll give it an ID of 2, and I will name it veg first, and let's say it's costing $5. And also I will instantiate another pizza, and I will name this meat deluxe equals new pizza. I'll give it an ID of 3, then I will give it a name meat deluxe, and let's say it's going to cost $6. And lastly, I will create another pizza, and I will call it peri peri equals new pizza 4, and the name, and it's going to cost $7. So that's our data, and I will write an if statement and call the filter input function, and in our case we're going to use the input.get because you're using the get request, and you're going to provide the get value. So our get value, if you go to the index.php, it's defined all. It's defined all. So I will write it there, find all, and I will do an echo and use the PHP JSON encode function to convert, which accepts an array. It accepts an array, and I will put the objects there, Hawaiian, then we've got veg fest, then we've got meat deluxe, and also we've got peri peri. And I will end it with a semicolon, and I will kill the script using the die function. So simple. This is actually what we need. This is our data, and we have put it in an array, and the JSON.encode will convert it into a JSON data and echo it back to the calling function, which is the getJSON that we are using from the jQuery library. So I will switch to my browser, and I will call the local hosts JSON PHP. At this moment it shows nothing, but when I say inspect and the console, we see it is an array of 4, and here we've got the objects themselves, and here we can see Hawaiian, veg fest, meat deluxe, and peri peri. And that is actually exactly what we've provided here. Now let us see how we can be able to display that data in our product show class. So there is also another method that can be able to help us to iterate on the JSON objects, and it's called the each.each. It's a JSON a jQuery function which is called the each, and it accepts the data, this data here that we get from our server, and also it's got a function, accepts a function which we supply the index variable or argument, and here we're going to supply the pizza object, and you're going to write code within that function. And here I will use the append. I'll say dot product show. I'm calling the product show class, and I will say dot append, and I will say pizza dot id, and concatenate. I'll say pizza dot name, concatenate, and I will say pizza dot price, and I will concatenate it and end it with a line break. So basically this is actually what we need. I will end the statement with a semicolon there. This is actually what we need. I will save my index file, and I will call voila. Now we can see here we've got the Hawaiian at 3.4, the veg fest. Basically this is the information that we have acquired from the server, converted it to JSON and echoed it back to our index, and we have processed it and we have displayed it on our product show class. I'm also going to show you how to use the post request to do the same. Post request, and here we're going to use the jQuery dot ajax function, and it accepts an object, and part of the object it has got properties, and one is the URL that will specify the URL where we are going to find or get the JSON data, and here we'll use the controller.php, because there is where we process our information. Then it also accepts the type property, and here we are specifying that we are going to use the post request, and we are also going to specify the data that we are going to send to the server, and it's going to be an object, and I'll use the fetch all property of the get value, and I'll assign it a value of 1. Then I will use there is also the success property, which accepts a function as an argument, and here now is where we are going to process our JSON data that we get from the server, because as we send information to the server, we will capture the data or the JSON data that will come from the server and use it inside here. And we can basically use the .each, and I'll copy paste, provide the same information, and let me comment this. I'll comment this because we are not going to use it anymore, and I'm going to add a button or a form. I'll say form, and I will say action is going to be post, and I'll give it an ID of JSON, and I'm also give it a method. So the method should be post, the action should be controller.php. Then I will add the input, and I will say that it's a type, it's going to be submit, and the value is going to be get JSON post, and that's what I need. And when I click this button, when I save and I refresh, I can see the get JSON post. When I click this, I need to tell JavaScript that do not process the default behavior, so I need to use the Ajax to send that information back to the server. So I will call the onSubmit event of the form, and I will use the ID of the form, which is JSON here. Say JSON dot on, and I will say on submit, and I will provide callback function with the event object. Then I will say EVT dot prevent default behavior. Prevent default. So that means when we click on the on submit, nothing is going to happen because we have prevented the default behavior, that is to submit the entire form. And can be able to do a console here .log not sent. Then I will save, Then when I reload my page and click, it says not sent. So I will copy my Ajax and paste it there. I will save my work and I will write the code. Else if filter input, and we're saying that it's a post input, and it has the fetch all key of the post array, global array, and this is the name from the data. It's the name, the fetch all. This is where it is. So I will just copy and paste, Control C and Control V, and this is exactly the same data that we'll be getting from. So I will refresh my page and I will click on JSON. Sorry, it says in operator for length. Let us see what's happened. Data, function, the ID, everything looks okay. avt.prevent data says filter input, prevent, okay, success, function, data, data, say append. Okay, it looks fine, and quote operator length, object success. So in case of such encounters, we can use the console.log to check, say data. I will save, then I will refresh, then I will. So here we can see we've gotten the object, but still down here it gives us the same error. So basically, because we are using the Ajax call request to the server, it does not have any inbuilt function to be able to process any JSON information as we used the getJSON. So we need to do that manually. So here I will say we'll give a name of a variable, let's say past data, and here we're going to say JSON. So pass JSON, pass. It should be JSON pass dot pass. And we provide the data, and we say past data, and we pass it here to the each function. So let us try. I'll refresh my page and I will. Yes, now this has worked, and we can see the information from our pizza, the data. So what we need to note is that the .ajax does not have any inbuilt properties to process the JSON data, and we need to do that explicitly using the JSON.pass, and you supply the object or the data that we've gotten from the server so that we can be able to use it here. So thank you very much for watching this video, and keep staying tuned.